Hi, I'm Emma. I'm an artist and a storyteller. This is my first longform video, and as I paint this watercolor piece of Kitty building her empire at her strawberry computer, I wanted to talk about something that's very close to my heart, and that's becoming the main character in your own life, your own story. A few months back, someone who knows me really well said, "Emma, you're not even the main character in your own story. You're barely a background character. You take a backseat to everyone else in your life and their opinions. You're so worried about what others think of you that you're not living. Be the main character, the hero in your own life." As a writer and a storyteller who loves the hero's journey, the idea that I wasn't the main character in my own story hit me like a ton of bricks. Because he was right, and I knew it. I remember years ago, I heard someone named Graham Cook talk about a young woman who was barely a background character in the movie of her own life. He decided to write letters to her, anonymously, to encourage her, telling her she was wonderful, beautiful, talented, and worthy, so that she would know her own worth and her own value. When he finally saw her maybe a year later, after a series of his anonymous letters, she was completely transformed. A whole new person. Her eyes sparkled. Her posture was completely different. The way she carried herself was strong and confident, and she had finally become the main character in her own life because he spoke to her identity. I always thought it was such a sad and sweet story, but to realize that I had become just like she was before, me, a storyteller, I knew I had to change. So I immediately set about clearing those thoughts out of my head. Every time a thought came up about what someone else might think, I threw it out. I would say out loud, literally out loud, "No, I'm not thinking that." Especially if it was a lie about who I am or a shot against my character, there was no room for that in my mind. If it wasn't my own original thought that supported me being the hero of my own story, it had to go. Instead, I focused on the joy of every single little thing I did. Yes, it took effort, and sometimes it was a challenge. Cooking, writing, working, taking a bath, and making art all became acts of main character energy. I turned up the music, I danced, I prayed life into myself, and I told myself how beautiful, important, talented, worthy, and successful I am. I counted all of the good things I have done, that I've accomplished, and that I'm doing. Instead of looking at all the things my life was lacking, I looked at how rich and full my life is. I held my head tall. I made a point to smile more, including smiling to myself while cooking and smiling at myself in the mirror. I also realized that I'd been so focused on my pores, or my blemishes on my skin, my flaws, that I never actually saw my face. I mean, all of it. I never saw myself. Yes, it felt really weird smiling at myself and to myself at first, and my smile felt really weak. But joy slowly started to bubble up, and it wasn't long until my eyes and my smile sparkled again. I even came across a mug that had main character energy written across it. I wasn't looking for one, but I took it as a sign and I bought it right then and there. Now I drink out of it all the time. It's a reminder every time I see it. And guess what? My energy changed. My joy came back. I don't focus on everyone else or worry about what they might think of me. Keyword is might. You don't know what people are actually thinking about you. And even if you did, it wouldn't matter. I realized that focusing on other people and worrying about their opinions robbed me of so much joy and stole so much energy and time that I could have put into hobbies and things I actually wanted to do with my life. Not only that, but I discovered that worry had literally been damaging my gut. The phrase "to be worried sick," I found out firsthand what worry was actually doing to me and that it was actually making me sick. It was what caused my gut pain, my food intolerances, and my acne. I had to stop worrying for the sake of my own mental health and my own physical health. Honestly, I had no idea how much I worried before that. So now I focus on creating the things that bring me joy, because I know that something like this video might bring someone else joy too. And maybe, just maybe, it will let you become the main character of your own story too. This one quote by George Bernard Shaw changed my whole perspective about what I should be as the main character, the hero of my own story. This is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a force of nature instead of a selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it what I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. That quote lit a fire in my heart when I heard it. After my friend told me that I wasn't the main character in my own life, as I was processing all of that, this ugly memory came back. I remembered that a friend once told me that someone else may be the villain in my story, but that I was the villain in theirs. I was devastated to hear a so-called friend say that. The way she said it felt damning. And for years after, anytime something went wrong, anytime some miserable person needed a whipping boy, or anyone falsely accused me of something, I really believed I was the villain. I carried the weight of her comment for a really long time, and the thoughts in my head were always, was it my fault? Am I in the wrong? Am I the villain? Everybody hates me. And even if I had done nothing wrong, I still carried the weight of that guilt and shame, and the burden grew heavier and heavier. What I learned from all of this is twofold. One, you are worthy, and you need to speak life into your own story. Be the hero in your own story, and do not call yourself the villain. The moment you call yourself the villain, or the anti-hero, or say, "Hi, I'm the problem, it's me," to quote Taylor Swift, or "I'm the bad guy," or say that you suck, you damn your own thoughts, your own behavior, and your attitude. Say it too long, and you'll believe it. You'll find it impossible to believe that you're anything but the villain, and that either nobody loves you, or everyone hates you. And that's not true. And two, you never know the impact of the words you speak, no matter how flippantly you might toss your words into the air. Call someone the villain, the bad guy, a loser, a failure, or anything mean like that, and it will stick in their heart like a fiery arrow. You might not think anything of it. It may take years, but that wound will fester, and the person may eventually become a shadow of their former self as they believe those lies about themselves. If you relate to any of this, if you're calling yourself a victim, a villain, a failure, unlovable, or anything negative, this is for you. Every time you feel compelled to call yourself one of those words or names, or saying that you suck, or that you're small or worthless, untalented, stop yourself and tell yourself out loud, no, that's a lie. I am the hero of my own story. I have that main character energy. I am successful. I am... And then just tell yourself whatever you need to hear. tell yourself the truth that counters the lie that you've been believing. Of course, first you have to identify the lie, and then recognize the truth. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am enough. I am capable of great things. I can succeed. I can focus. I am creative. I can find that new job that is suited to my skills. Whatever it is that you need to hear. This is so true, not only of the thoughts in our head, but also of the stories we read. I am a huge proponent of hero's journey stories because the hero begins as an ordinary person in an ordinary world, and then there's a call to action that takes them out of their comfort zone into extraordinary circumstances. On their journey, there are temptations, trials, traps, and obstacles that they have to overcome. They will fail along the way and question themselves, but ultimately, they'll pick themselves up and choose to overcome those obstacles. That is their journey. Without the trials, temptations, failures, and mistakes, and ultimately choosing to accept their call, they cannot be transformed into the heroes they're meant to become. That kind of story puts courage into our hearts at every age. We want to see the hero succeed. So if you program your own mindset and your children's mindset with those hero stories towards success, towards being an overcomer rather than a victim, then you'll find a propensity towards being a hero rather than a victim, towards being the main character rather than a side character, or worse, a background character. For those of you wondering why trials and tribulations keep recurring over and over, the answer is simple. It was only one book in your saga called Life. Harry Potter had 7 books. Each time, he went through the entire cycle of the hero's journey. And each time, he ended his journey transformed. Wiser, stronger, more knowledgeable, more capable, and braver than before. Luke Skywalker went through multiple stories in his saga, and he also became stronger and wiser. Same for Percy Jackson, who also went through 7 written works. Each of us is somewhere in the hero's journey cycle. The question is, where in that cycle, and also whether or not you've chosen to accept the call to action, and if you will learn from those trials and tribulations, or if you'll keep repeating the same tasks and mistakes over and over again. If you think of these journeys in terms of written stories, you're only seeing the cycles that have been written down. And when we read the hero's journey regularly, we begin to recognize and relate those Herculean obstacles to events in our own lives. Hence the importance of reading those stories and relating to the main character. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I wish I could write well," or "I wish I could do that. I wish I could do art like that. I wish I could be strong like that or skilled like that. I wish I were smart like that." And when anyone asks them, "Well, why don't you do art or work out to get strong or learn that skill or study hard or do that thing?" they always say, "Well, I'm not naturally talented like whoever," or "Oh, no, I could never do that." Or maybe worst of all, "Yeah, right." It's not about natural talent. Dismissing the results you see and blaming it on natural talent ignores the thousands of crumpled pages, the hundreds of hours put into mastery, the decades of studying. It dismisses failing over and over in secret and of always picking oneself back up again and trying over and over again. It's about making mistakes, creating ugly art, starting from nothing, like not being able to do a single push-up or pull-up, or not being strong enough to carry groceries. If you're the main character of your story, and you allow yourself to learn, to make mistakes, to grow while no one is watching, then you can gain those skills, that strength, and do more than raw talent ever could on its own. But You have to put the work into it, just like the heroes in their training sequences in the movies. Yes, cue the Rocky training music. You'll never know if you never try. If you find yourself saying, "Oh, I could never do that," or "That could never happen for me," I challenge you to try. I mean, really try. You might be surprised. Here's to many more hero stories, and being the hero of your own story. To all of those of you who have put hundreds of hours into something and failed a lot before you succeeded, why don't you write your story in the comments as encouragement for those who don't believe it's possible yet? If you like this video, I hope you'll give it a like and share it with someone else who might be inspired or encouraged. Let me know in the comments if I should do more long-form videos like this. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.